Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Uttu Rams. And today it's time for the Premier League predictions, baby. Game week 16 time. Obviously, I'm super happy. The Prem is back. I can't lie. I've been waiting for this weekend, man. I've been having so much free time during the week. I just wanted it to be Saturday so that I can watch the Premier League once again. And it's time to predict it, by the way. Come on now, game week 16. To kickstart the weekend, we have Chelsea versus Everton. 8:30 kickoff here in India. Good contest. I think Chelsea, obviously, the form has dipped ever since the draw against Arsenal. Ever since the Chelsea fans went over the top with with their celebrations, their reaction to the result, I think they went overboard. From being title contenders to suddenly them thinking it's title charge time. I think that messed up the whole campaign, given how bad their week has been ever since that. 2 weeks has been, honestly, ever since that result. Um, Obviously, in the two Premier League games after the Arsenal result, they lost to Leeds and then they drew to Bournemouth 0-0 last weekend. And even in the Champions League this midweek, literally, they lost to Atalanta 2-1. Come on now, Atalanta have been struggling in the Serie A this season, and Chelsea have gone on to lose to them, which is a terrible result. And Everton, they've been on good form. Honestly, I think they have 24 points already in the Premier League, just 1 point of Chelsea. So I think this is going to be a fascinating fixture. I think this is another fixture where Moises Caicedo will be missing. I think this is the last game where Caicedo will be missing. So, given that Caicedo will be missing again, and Chelsea's form without Caicedo, and us being in December, I've gone with a one-all draw. I think Everton will get a result out of this game. Next up, we have Liverpool versus Brighton. Same time kickoff. Liverpool, they'll be super happy with their midweek performance. A massive victory in the Champions League, beating Inter Milan in the San Siro. A huge result, a 1-0 victory for them, courtesy Soboslai penalty. But in the league, last two games, they've drawn both the fixtures, and now they're facing a Brighton side who are very bad away from home, honestly. This could be a result. This could be a fixture where I think Liverpool can consolidate after their result midweek in the Champions League. And given how bad Brighton have been away from home, I think this will be a Liverpool 2-1 victory. Next up, we have Burnley versus Fulham, 11 o'clock kickoff India time. Burnley, they've been struggling in the league. They do not have any answers anymore, especially the way they started the season, picking up majority of the points in the opening weeks of the season, but ever since them have fallen off a cliff, and I do not see Burnley competing anymore in the Premier League this season, given the fact that the other teams in the Premier League have figured them out. And Fulham, although they've had two bad results recently, they will still be happy with their performances, especially the 5-4 loss at home against Manchester City. But Fulham against Burnley, I do not see them dropping points here. I do not see them messing this opportunity of being clear of the relegation zone. So I've gone with a 2-1 Fulham victory. Next up, it's a 1:30 kickoff late at night, aka early in the morning on Sunday for us in India, and for all of you in Europe in different time zones. It's obviously a Saturday night fixture for y'all. It's Arsenal versus Wolves. Wolves, probably the worst Premier League side I've seen in my lifetime. I've never seen a team play this awfully. Although there was a Southampton last year who were terrible, terrible, honestly. That was probably the worst team I'd ever seen in the Premier League. But this season, Wolves have somehow been even more worse and pathetic compared to even the Southampton team that accumulated just 12 points last year. There's a huge chance that Wolves do not even break the 10-point barrier this season. Given that they only have 2 points after the first 15 games of the Premier League season, going up against um, the team that's number one on the table, the team that's probably one of the best in Europe. Even if you look at the Champions League table, they are numero uno on the table against an Arsenal side who did lose last week to Aston Villa 2-1. A result which has put Aston Villa just 3 points behind Arsenal and Manchester City 2 points behind them. And this is a game where Arsenal would love to smash up Wolves and not slip up, given how close Manchester City and Aston Villa are, sniffing them as they can sniff them now. Arsenal, I think, will win 4-0. I think it's going to be easy work for them. I don't see Wolves um, having any threat or being any of a threat to Arsenal tonight. So I've gone with an easy Arsenal 4-0 win at the Emirates. Next up, Crystal Palace versus Manchester City. Sunday, 7:30 p.m. kickoff here in India. Crystal Palace have been tremendous in the Premier League, currently fourth with 26 points, doing quite decently even in the Conference League. Picked up a victory just 2 days back. But Crystal Palace, honestly, whenever they do have a game in Europe, they do not perform well in the following game in the Premier League. They're unable to balance European football along with the Premier League football. But they're facing Manchester City, who was second on the table. And for Crystal Palace, given how bad they have been in balancing fixtures in Europe as well as in the Premier League, this is a fixture that they wouldn't have wanted to have after the exploits in Europe. And Manchester City, obviously a massive victory for them, a result which would have boosted their morale, a confidence booster literally. The confidence probably has rocketed where I don't know. They probably reached moon by now, having beaten Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu 2-1, and has obviously propelled them quite high up in the Champions League table. And that confidence, I think, will be key for them in their fixture against Crystal Palace. So therefore, I've gone with a 2-1 Manchester City win. Next up, we have Nottingham Forest versus Tottenham Hotspur. And once again, a 7:30 kickoff. Nottingham Forest and Tottenham Hotspur both did get victories in Europe. Tottenham Hotspur also beat Brentford last weekend, a massive victory for them. But Nottingham Forest at home under Sean Dyche have been quite decent. They've been doing well under Sean Dyche, all in all, ever since he's taken over for Nottingham Forest. And Spurs, they've been quite inconsistent this season. Not sure how they will respond after their victory in the Champions League midweek and their victory against Brentford last weekend. They too have been unable to balance European football along with Premier League football, and are still getting adjusted to Thomas Frank's style of play. But I do think that Nottingham Forest will get a result here against Spurs, so I've gone with a 2-all draw. Next up, this is the game of the week. This is the game of the weekend. A derby that had eluded us for the past few years, given that Sunderland were in the second division. Now that they are back in the Premier League, it's not like this is going to be a game which will be one-sided. I mean, you never know. Newcastle could demolish Sunderland, or Sunderland could also get the better of Newcastle. But looking at the table, Sunderland are 1 point ahead of Newcastle United. Going into this game, it's not like Sunderland are low in the table facing a Newcastle side that's flying high. That's not the case here. This is a case of both the teams being quite equal, going into the derby, um, quite similar on the league table. Both of them will be super happy. Okay, I wouldn't say Newcastle United will be super happy with how the season has gone. But Sunderland will be super happy with how the season has gone, especially after all the investment done by the owners, bolstering the squad for Reggie Lebris, adding 15 players, and Lebris, in my opinion, has done a tremendous job to integrate all the players and getting the best out of all the players playing his style of football. But this game, I think it's going to be a banger, man. Honestly, I think the atmosphere is going to be wild. It's going to be ecstatic. It's going to be next level. I think these players will be up for it, given this is Sunderland's biggest derby and this is Newcastle's biggest derby. Both of them playing and facing off in the Premier League after a long time. Both the teams would want to get the better of each of them. But I think Sunderland, I think they're going to do it. Granit Xhaka, the way he's performed for Sunderland, the way he's added firepower to this team, I think he's, I think he's going to lead Sunderland to a victory against Newcastle United. I'm going with a New Sunderland 3-2 victory over Newcastle United. Next up, West Ham United versus Aston Villa. West Ham United still quite low on the table. I think they're 18th still, not out of the relegation zone yet. Facing off against Aston Villa, who are flying high, third on the Premier League table, recovered tremendously ever since the poor start to the season. After 5 games, they just accumulated 3 points. But in the last 10 games, out of a possible 30 points, they've accumulated 27, meaning they're on 30 points currently, just 3 points behind the lead of Arsenal. Going into this game, I think Aston Villa, they do have the firepower. They have the likes of Watkins, Morgan Rogers, Boubacar Kamara, Tielemans, Amadou Onana, Doniel Malen. All these players are great players to have, and I think they will get the better of West Ham United in this fixture. I've gone with a 2-1 away win for Aston Villa. Next up, we have Brentford versus Leeds United. Brentford, a team who are great at home, a team that's quite stubborn, and a team that's tough to beat in their own backyard, facing off against a Leeds United team who, in the last week or so, have picked up form, have picked up points. A massive victory against Chelsea, 3-1 victory 2 games ago, and last game against Liverpool, a tremendous comeback by Leeds, getting them a point in a 3-all draw. These are confidence boosters for Leeds, honestly, given that 2 games against teams that are one obviously finished in the top four last season, winning the Club World Cup, winning the Conference League, and the other team who are the defending Premier League champions, to take 4 out of 6 points in those 2 fixtures. People would have laughed at you if you suggested that. And given that Leeds have accomplished it in the end, they have got those 4 points out of 6. That's a confidence booster, in my opinion, for Leeds. Scoring 6 goals in 2 games against those two teams, that will help their attack. That will give them the confidence to go to any stadium, to face off against any team, and give them a run for their money. In this game, I think Leeds, um, given how things have gone for them, have panned out for them in the last week, I think they will get a result in this game. So I've gone with a 2-all draw. The last game of the game week. It's a Monday night kickoff in Europe. It's a Tuesday early morning kickoff here in India. 1:30 a.m. kickoff for us. It's my beloved Manchester United, baby, facing off against AFC Bournemouth. Bournemouth coming off a 0-0 draw against Chelsea, a result they probably would have, a result they most definitely needed, given how bad their run had been before the previous game week. Facing off against Manchester United, who demolished Wolves last week, a 4-1 victory for us. Although we did not have a great first half, in the second half we were tremendous, bossing Wolves around and getting the much needed 4-1 victory. But Manchester United, honestly, apart from that one run where we did get 3 wins on the trot, we haven't been able to get back to back wins apart from that. Given that we did beat Wolves last Monday or Tuesday early morning, going into this game, I'm going to be optimistic this time. This is going to be Ahmad Diallo, Brian Mbumo, and Nusair Mazraoui's last contribution, most likely, before they do go to the AFCON. So I do expect them to have a massive performance in this game for us. Hopefully, they get us the 3 points before leaving to Africa for the AFCON. So me, I'm being optimistic this time. I've gone with a 2-1 victory for us at Old Trafford. Hopefully the boys do not let me down. Hopefully we can get the 3 points. Enjoy for another week before the next weekend's fixtures. Anyhow, hopefully you all enjoyed the video. Hopefully you all enjoyed the predictions. Let's see if the predictions do come to light. And I would like you all to leave your predictions down below, as I'm curious to see what y'all minds and brains, how they work and how you lot um, uh, think about, or how your brain works when it comes to analyzing the game and predicting the game. Anyhow, I'll see you lot soon, and I'm out. Peace.